Hi, this is Dr. Perry Carpenter, Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist. And before we get into the leg curl exercise, I just want to say a couple of words about the anatomy of the hamstring muscles, because this will help you understand how to properly train the hamstring muscles and why these special adaptations that I propose to the standard leg curl exercise are necessary if you want to get maximum impact, maximum effectiveness, maximum growth, and maximum time value out of your time in the gym. So let's go over a couple of anatomic features of the hamstrings. Now, we've all heard of the hamstring muscles. Hamstring muscles, of course, are those muscles in the back of our thigh, and they're composed of four muscles. There's the semimembranosus, the semitendinosus, there's the long head of the biceps femoris, and then also there's the short head of the bicep femoris. Now, of these four muscles, three of them have a common origin or a common attachment onto the ischial tuberosity of the pelvis. One of the four hamstrings, that is the short head of the biceps femoris, does not attach on the pelvis, but rather attaches on the leg bone, the femur bone. So of these four muscles, three of them attached to the pelvis, one of them attached to the legs. And this is important to understand, because we traditionally do the leg curl exercise by bending the knee, and all four of the hamstring muscles contribute to bending the knee. However, in addition to bending the knee, three of the four hamstring muscles, the ones that attach on the pelvis, also have an additional action, and that is they extend the hip on the pelvis. So because these muscles attach on the pelvis rather than the leg itself, they have the capacity to not only bend the knee, but also to move the leg. Because as those muscles contract and shorten, they pull on the origin at the pelvis, and that pulls on the leg and has the capacity to move the leg. The movement that these muscles perform at the leg is known as hip extension. So the hamstrings really have dual function. Of course, they are knee flexors, but they're also secondarily hip extensors. And we're going to take advantage of this anatomic feature of the hamstring muscles. Now, all of the hamstring muscles, the semimembranosus, the semitendinosus, the long head of the biceps femoris, and then the short head of the biceps femoris, all attach onto the lower leg below the knee. So when we go below the knee, we'll simply refer to that collectively as the lower leg. Of course, we know that we have the tibia and the fibula that comprise the lower leg, but those nuances aren't really relevant to this discussion. It's sufficient to know that those muscles all attach below the knee. So, in other words, all these muscles cross the knee to attach on bones below the knee. So that makes the hamstrings a biarticular muscle, and articular means joint. So what we're actually saying is that the hamstring muscles cross and act at two joints. First, they cross and act at the knee, and then they also, or at least three of the four of them, cross and act at the hip. So they influence motion at two joints, and we're going to take advantage of this when we get into the leg curl exercise. So here is a diagram of the hamstring muscles, and I'll point them out to you. Note here where I'm moving my mouse pointer, this bony prominence is part of the pelvis. This is the ischial tuberosity of the pelvis. This is part of the ischial bone, which is this bone down here. Pelvis is made up of three bones, actually, the ischium, the ilium, and the pubis, and this is the tuberosity of the ischium bone. So this is the ischial tuberosity, and from it we have the long head of the biceps femoris here, and it's labeled biceps femoris. That comes down and attaches below the knee laterally onto the fibula bone over here. And then we have also attaching onto the ischial tuberosity, we have the semitendinosus muscle, and that comes down and attaches below the knee on the tibia bone. And then we also have the semimembranosus right here, and it's labeled semimembranosus. That comes down and attaches also below the knee with this group of tendons here. Now, deep to the biceps femoris, the biceps femoris long head, we have the biceps femoris short head, not shown very well in this diagram, except for a small slip of tendon here that comes down and attaches and joins with the existing tendon from the long head of the biceps femoris. So those two muscles become conjoined or joined down approaching the knee, but they're actually two muscles, with the short head attaching up here onto the leg bone, and then the long head, as I diagrammed before, or as I showed you before, attaching up onto the pelvis. And this is the prior diagram that we went through before. And so here's a cutaway that shows each of these muscles individually. Here is the semitendinosus. Here is the biceps femoris long head, both attaching on the ischial tuberosity. And note the relationship of the pelvis bone here to the hip joint here. You see that these muscles attach independent of the hip joint. Now just imagine these muscles here shortening or contracting. They're going to pull on both the insertion points down here below the knee, and we're familiar with that with the leg curl exercise. That's what's going to cause the knee to bend as these two bones get pulled on by these muscles. Well, in addition to pulling on these bones, the hamstring muscles are also going to pull on their origin up here, and when that happens, the movement that the hip joint or the leg goes through is hip extension, meaning that this leg moves backwards. Okay, so here's a cutaway that shows the semimembranosus, and then deep to all of those is the short head of the biceps femoris. Now, of the four hamstring muscles, notice that the biceps femoris is unique because it attaches here on the leg. And because it attaches on the leg bone, it has absolutely no action at the hip. It has action only at the knee. Now, in addition to the hamstring muscles, in order to fully understand how to properly perform the leg curl exercise, we need to talk also a little bit about the calf muscles. Now, these are your large calf muscles right here, also known as the gastrocnemius muscles. And these are clearly labeled as the medial gastrocnemius here, and then this is the lateral gastrocnemius. Now, like the hamstring muscles, which we established is a biarticular muscle, meaning that it acts and crosses two joints, the gastrocnemius is also a biarticular muscle. And notice that the gastrocnemius comes up and crosses the knee and attaches above the knee onto the upper leg bone or the femur bone. Same here with the lateral gastrocnemius, crosses the knee joint, and the level of the knee joint is approximately right about here where I'm indicating with my mouse pointer. In fact, on this other diagram, you can see that the knee joint is probably right through a section about here where I'm demonstrating with my mouse pointer. So the gastrocnemius comes up and crosses the knee joint, and then as it continues downward, it continues as the Achilles tendon, and it crosses the ankle joint, and the ankle joint is just about at a level here where I'm indicating with my mouse. So it significantly extends a significant distance beyond the ankle joint below, and it extends a significant distance above the knee joint from above. And notice how the hamstring tendons come down and cross the knee, and the calf tendons come up and cross the knee, sort of to form a sling, an interlocking sling. And we're going to take advantage of this powerful arrangement here. And we're going to get these large calf muscles to contribute to the leg curl, because these calf muscles, because they cross this knee joint up here, will contribute to knee flexion. Not only do they cause you to raise up on your toes down here, but they also contribute to knee flexion here. So now that we know the anatomy of the hamstrings and the calf muscles, let's put these muscles to work to give us results with our leg curl exercise.
Good. Yep.
I see and I find in you every day for us something new. Open mind for a different view, and nothing else matters. Never care for what they do.
Good.
Never care for what they know. Myself this way. Life is ours, we live it our way. Hold these words I don't just say, and nothing else matters. and nothing else